You better make sure this is recording.
I just hit record. Do you see the little record icon on your computer? Is it showing up? Oh no, you're
The last one.
All right.
Yeah, I see.
You go.
I can see the recording. Now, this wasn't showing last time, but I didn't know to look.
No. So here's what happened last time. David said very defensively. David is very defensive. He's a defensive person. So I had recently upgraded from the free version of Zoom to the paid version of Zoom. With the free version of Zoom, you reach over with your mouse, you hit record, you're done. Okay?
Got it. Okay.
You were my guinea pig for the paid version of Zoom.
Well, you know, I deserve that. I deserve that paid version.
You did. Well, you didn't deserve what I did to you, though. Now you're
freezing up.
You're freezing up periodically, but this is part of the.
I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take this somewhere else. Hold on a second, all right?
Okay. Can we come with you?
With me, yeah. Hold on a second.
Yeah, we need a nice strong signal. You look very inquisitive.
Where should I go?
You're inquisitive. Oh, I like the hardwood right there, that exposed beam. Is it fake or real? Is it just decorative or is it a real one?
No, that's real. That's many, many years old.
Oh.
Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll come over here.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go. So we still should figure out how we could fuck this one up. But let's. Okay. So here's what happened. So with the free version, you just hit record, you're done. And you and I were like, let's keep it organic. We're just going to jump right in. I hit record.
Yeah.
Right in. What I didn't realize is that there's a drop up menu in the paid version of Zoom where you have to choose either record on the cloud or record on your computer. I didn't know that was coming. I didn't look. I was looking at this fancy Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
And then
so fancy.
Yeah. So I don't know how we can recreate that magic. It was, I swear to God.
I don't know, but you know, it's wild. So, Fred Willard passed. And I love him.
Yeah.
Jerry Stiller passed. Yeah, we talked about Jerry.
I know we did.
Yeah, and he passed away, which was very, that was sad because he was
sad. I mean, it's timely and sad at the same time. You know, I think he was 92, but such an amazing, brilliant guy. So it is a shame. I just, we did our little promo because right after I screwed the whole thing up, I called you. It was funny and upsetting all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I've watched it a bunch of times, and it was almost like you were getting punked because I don't think you really believed me until it's.
No, I didn't at first. I was kind of like, "What's happening?" But then I realized, and I remember we hung up with that second call, and I said to my wife, "What a fucking asshole."
When we hung up, I said that about myself, too. Scott was so upset, he said he had to drink down some whiskey just to try to feel better, wash down his pain.
Yeah.
Go
ahead.
It really was, I mean, it's funny because in the midst of it, one could take any sort of area of endeavor, trial lawyer, you're a skier, you're running the slope really nicely, you're a musician, you're acting a scene, you feel like you killed it, right?
Yeah.
I felt like it was such a nice interview. And the one thing we won't even try to do now is two people getting to know each other because we kind of did that time.
We did that. Yeah, we did that.
And we don't need to do it again. But what was so upsetting to me is I felt so good throughout. Yeah. And then I go to harvest it and it ain't there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll just do it, we'll just do it like two old buddies shooting the shit.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So let me go backwards a little bit because the magic we created is only known to you, Mo, and I. So you are an actor, but you're originally from New Jersey.
I am originally from New Jersey, yeah. I went to Wall High School. I went to Brookdale Community College. I worked at Sidoroff's in Belmar. My family owned it. I worked at Bar Anticipation. I worked at Poor Boy Sub Shop. I did
Shout out to Tommy Janarone.
Tommy Janarone, love Tommy. We've known each other for Jesus Christ, 30 years now.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, 30 years. Yeah.
And then you get the acting bug. So just take us on the journey again, because
I always thought, you know, it's funny. I always wanted to do something, you know, so like that. I've always been a ham, right? I've always been kind of like attention. When I was young, it was about attention. Like I just wanted, and
from
any
a
kind of
wellspring of insecurity, no doubt.
well, what actor isn't? Actually, what human isn't? You tell me one human
That's
that
true.
ain't insecure.
Very
But
true.
you know, actors we may have it a little bit more, and which is fine. I live on that, and don't let it override my create. But so, you know, even as far back in high school, like I wouldn't be in the theater department in high school because it was, you know, I was listening to Van Halen. I was wearing spandex. I was that kind of, you know, long hair, earrings, smoking a lot of weed. I used LSD, like that stuff I did like that. But I did want a band. So I would, you know, once in a while with, I think his name was Scott Kemple. He played guitar. He was really good back then. Other guys, and we'd get together, and then we'd put on one or two shows at the school in the auditorium because I always wanted that kind of front and center.
Well, let me ask you this, because you're tapping into something that's in my own sort of personal narrative, is that the artistic side of you, I'm sensing, didn't want the pre-packaged version of artistic endeavor. In other words, you know, you could do the school play, which is organized by somebody else, a play written by someone else that's sort of pre-packaged. You could join the school band, but you're doing that. But instead, you chose to do your own thing, but still, even at a young age, wanted to artistically express yourself. Is that sort of the
perfect?
But outside of the box.
Outside of the box, and you know, and that goes, you know, I mean, it's a different time, but you know, fast forward to after I've been on, you know, TV series and done stuff, I wanted to do it again, and I started a band called the Alex Skuby Band. You know, this was years ago. But that was another form of that, where, you know, when you do TV and when you do film and when you do voiceover and stuff, and you're working for companies or studios or whatever, you are essentially in a box, right? You listen to this person and this person and that person, and they want a package. So I've always liked being outside of that package, although, you know, you have to be in that package.
And it's interesting because, you know, like even for your acting, let's say, you know, there's limits to how much creativity you can infuse into your character before you're pissing off the screenwriter or director, I would imagine.
Well, they're choices. Yeah. I mean, an actor can make a choice, but if the director and the producers don't like that choice, they'll, you know, a lot of them will gently say, hey, let's try something else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Although there are some people who aren't nice and they'll do other stuff. And, you know, which brings me to this, you know, when I was younger, when I first started working, you know, on TV and stuff, I was always very like, okay, is that okay? Like, is that great? Or do you want me to change it or whatever? And if the people weren't necessarily nice, I would kind of either shrink or be like, okay, yeah, whatever. But now, and this started happening like maybe 10 years ago, if you don't treat me right, I ain't treating you right, man. You know what I mean? So I like that. I like that.
You know? It happens at a certain age, you know, and you know, when you have, you know, like even with me, I saw a turning point, the way I look at and interact with judges. I look at them as peers now, you know, and there's some who are a boatload smarter than I am, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But just sort of emotionally, intellectually, I don't look at, you know, I don't look like this unless, I mean, they could be younger and I could look at them like that. But in terms of that sort of experiential factor, I just sort of turned the corner in my professional life. And I would imagine the same thing would apply to an actor, but there's risk to it for you and me for that matter.
Well, I mean, in any business, probably, you know, I mean, but the truth is that, like, you know, I'm just speaking specifically as from an actor standpoint. It's like when you've done a bunch of stuff and you've got credits and you know the technicality of film and television acting, and you know a lot of it's just technical. You want to be on the same playing field and after a while with everyone else. So if you feel like you're getting shit on, or not as much respect is coming your way as, say, someone else that you're working with, yeah, you can feel that. And so nowadays I don't let that be in my life. So
so,
even if it does, even if it bites me in the ass, it's like, well, fuck it.
But you know what else? If you walk away from that because you have a sense of self and confidence and pride, it sets you up much more nicely for the next experience, I would think, or the next professional interaction.
Yeah, and not to mention the fact, like, and this all goes into the same shoe. It's like you have to trust the people you're working with. So you have to trust the director. You have to trust the cinematographer. You have to trust, the art department, and everything, that everyone is doing their job to the, and the editor. When you're done filming, you want to know that the editor is going to take these chunks and make a fucking, journey. So once that trust is not there, and it's happened to me before, you start to kind of shy away and kind of like go, you know what, I don't really want to do this, but you're still doing it. And that leads to a disaster.
Yeah. So I want to do this right now. So about 6 or 7 years ago, I have a friend of mine who had back-to-back $55 million verdicts. And he was a solo
$55 million what?
Verdicts in a trial.
Okay.
Back-to-back. And he owned his own law firm, and nothing had to be shared with anyone else. He spoke on a panel that I put together, and I made a huge mistake. I didn't start the presentation by giving those credentials, and people weren't listening enough to him. And I thought, oh my God, you're hearing. So I haven't done that with you right now. I want to do it before we get deeper in. So, just so people know, we're chatting with a guy who's had incredible success on television and other forms of media. So just give us just a little snippet, then we can break it up. And I want to just get a little snippet of, obviously to me, King of Queens is, I've been all over YouTube watching your stuff, but give us a little resume-ish stuff.
Well, I mean, the first thing I did was in Chicago. It was called Early Edition. I did 2 episodes of it, and we're going way back to like '96.
Okay.
And then after that, I was in Chicago doing theater, and I got a small recurring on ER, which filmed out here in Los Angeles at Warner Brothers, and I played a character named Renato, and he was a medevac, and I came out here, and then I finally wound up moving here from Chicago, and ER helped pay for that, which was phenomenal. And once I was here, I just started auditioning, and I lucked out, and I started testing to play opposite certain people as series regular and on different series, which happened quick. And then I got a series called Strip Mall, which was on Comedy Central, and it was I did 7. I wasn't a regular, but I should have been, because I did 7 of the episodes, and it only ran for like 12, I think. And then while I was doing that, I for a show called an audition for a show called The King of Queens, and I went in and I didn't get the part, and then we talked about this, where I went in like 4 or 5 times for 5 different characters, didn't get it. Next time they called, it's another part, and I went in, got it, and that was King of Queens. And then I've been to network a bunch of times for series that didn't get picked up. I did a pilot for ABC, didn't go anywhere.
You did the Fosters?
I was on the Fosters. I did 10 episodes of the Fosters. There's a ton of stuff like Santa Clarita Diet. And I just did, at the end of last year, I did a show called Snowfall, which is like one of my favorite. It's so good. It's on AMC. CSI, it's Google me.
right. And I did. Right. But what's cool? So, it's nice because we had sort of the never to be released, only the 3 of us know what happened interview from a couple weeks ago or so, not even a couple weeks ago. So I'm thinking about this. You've got a sort of a trifecta. I don't know if you could sing or dance, but here's what I'm thinking about. And a little bit we talked about last time, so it's like a cheat sheet for me. I know you've got great acting chops because I've watched some pretty intense scenes. And when scenes got serious, I'm not an actor nor a student of that, but I think I could sort of tell, and I can tell you're a good actor. And you've got.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And we talked last time, and we'll explore the drop again today if you'd like. You're a very tall guy. You're 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, it's like 6'5", yeah. So.
Okay. And then the other thing we didn't talk about, I'm a guy who was on radio on a very Wayne's World level, for years. You've got a great voice, and we didn't talk about that last time. You've got a really sort of a deep, your voice resonates. I don't know if you worked on it or if it's just the way it is.
No, it's just the way it is. It's years of tequila and cigarettes. And I'll tell you, I do a lot of voiceover. Well, I've done voice campaigns. I was the voice of Goodyear tires for 2
Oh,
years.
really?
Yeah, I did all their TV commercials and stuff. And then more recently, I was the voice of Lowe's.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did that for.
Let me hear it. Are you allowed to? Can you do like
I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do it. But I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
6 months, 77 national TV commercials is not too shabby, brother.
That's right. All right. So here's what I'm going to challenge you right now. A buddy of mine worked at Young and Rubicon years ago, and he ran whatever company owned Advil. Mm-hmm. I was still a young, unmarried guy, young adult. And I came up with a line. I want to hear you give it to us. Drink all you want. Advil takes care of the rest.
Drink all you want. Advil takes care of the rest.
Oh, I like you had that sort of deep resonance toward the rest part. That was very well done. You should do that for a living.
Well, maybe I have. But I was also the voice of Prowl in the Transformers universe online cinema. It was like online games that people played, and I did the voice of Prowl for a couple of years. It was great.
That's good stuff. So in the world of actors, like I would guess, and again, I'm hearkening back to our last conversation. Yeah. You remember the old days of the Best Western off of Sunset, where all the actors that have breakfast. You know that place?
Yeah.
A buddy of mine took me there, and he kind of explained to me the whole scene. And I'm thinking, and there you'd have the screenwriters, trying to put together whatever they're hoping to sell in the young actors, both serving you and eating there. Yeah. And this is yours is a remarkably successful career. And it's really consistent with, like our theme on Guitar Tales. You're remarkably successful. Will our viewers know the name's Alex Skuby just off the top of their heads? No, but then if they go on TV, they've seen you, they've heard you on television, radio, and things like that.
I get it all the time. I know you from somewhere. Like, where are you? Yeah. Who do I know? Do you live in my neighborhood, or do you go to this? I'm like, no, I don't do any of that. And you hate answering that.
Right.
Like, it's like, you hate saying, oh, I was on TV. It's like, right. I just usually look at them and go, I don't know. You know what I mean?
So you've been out there 20-ish years in LA?
I've been in Los Angeles since 98. So,
yeah, 22. Right. So I would think, you come there, you presumably make a lot of friends, and here we are 20, maybe not.
Well, it depends on what you mean by friends. I mean, a lot of times you're just making connections because you're making connections. Will they become friends? Maybe.
All right, so let's talk about just acquaintances, right? Mm-hmm. Some of those folks, you might know folks who just skyrocketed, into, like how much. Okay. Yeah. But some of them, either were unsuccessful or gave up, or, you're really close to the top of that heap in that you are what is, I think, a rare commodity, a successful working actor in Hollywood. I would think that if someone ran the numbers, if that's even possible, I would think that is something that's not very common.
It's not, but I will say that it's not. I mean, a lot of times, being an actor, first of all, your skin needs to be thick.
Oh, right, because you're getting rejected.
I can't even tell you how many thousands. I mean, I have no idea how many times people said no, or he's just not that good, or he's not what we're looking for, or he's bald, or he's way too tall, or it's all this shit. And
what about he's not good? You ever like that?
Oh no! Listen, okay, so here's a funny story. So okay, and by the way, just you keep saying I'm extremely successful. The truth of the matter is, the ups and downs. I mean.
Right, I can't imagine. Right.
But I'll tell you this though, man. This leads me to this. So Jerry Stiller, I was in his dressing room. This was a night after taping an episode of King of Queens. And, he had martinis, and we'd sit there, him and I, and talk. And he said to me one time, because I was having problems. My son had just been born, and I was just kind of like, scattered. And I was young. And he goes, Alex, listen to me. This is Jerry Stiller. He said, don't measure your success by what show you're working on, or what you're doing as an actor, or when you're working. He says, measure your success by how you handle the down times when you're not working,
Right.
When you're trying to get a gig or whatever. He goes, that's where you measure. So that was Jerry Siller told me that. I'll never forget it.
That's beautiful. That's universally applicable, right?
No.
You know, like again, I always bring things back to what I do in my day job, which is as a lawyer, we all learn more from our trial losses than our trial victories.
Oh,
you know,
of course.
It's not even close.
Well, if you're always winning, then there's no depth to that. There's no depth.
No, and
depth comes from loss.
Yes, absolutely. And you could even go back to Freud, who I'll bastardize this, but he basically theorized that consciousness develops from unsatisfied wants and needs, and it makes perfect sense. You know, I went to GW undergrad, and when I met all the absurdly rich people who got everything they wanted, I determined that they were unconscious. I think I was right.
Nothing there. There's no, like, you know, I meet a lot of people and I meet a lot of actors, and I can always kind of, I don't know how else to say this, but I can always kind of tell within the first, like, I don't know, 5 minutes of talking to someone, if they're a good actor. And I don't even have to really see what, but there's a characteristic, there's a depth of personality, and there is, when someone has bled enough in life, when someone has had pain and suffering, whether it's within the family, with its, you know, love life, or you know, financial ruin, or whatever the hell it is.
And I'll jump in as you're setting this up, because I love what you're getting at.
Yeah.
It could be pain that was caused by oneself or externally.
Of course. Yeah.
Now,
there's, what I'm saying is, you can kind of get the gist of someone's character within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? You just can. And you can also sense if, you know, if they're good at their passion. It doesn't even have to be an actor. It could be anything. You know what I mean? But that's always been like this thing through my life where I can tell, like, I can just, I don't know. It's something, it's wild.
Well, I think what you're doing. So let's break it down a little bit. So as an actor, you are portraying the human condition in various scenarios, right? And how can someone approach that craft without having an appreciation firsthand of the human condition?
Yeah.
And you have an empathic, is that right? An empathic perception of someone you're chatting with, or you know, interfacing with. And if there is sort of a vacuousness about them, you know immediately that they can't emote the human experience, right?
So true, man. You know, and yeah, so it's wild, but yes to all that. Yeah.
You know what I think? I'm going to throw this out. I think we're not recreating. We're surpassing the greatest interview in the history of the
I think we're going past it right now.
I think we are. So let's talk a little bit now. So here you are, you know, you're an artist, and you have the artist, plastic arts, you know, you're a musician, but that's not your main gig. So here we are in the midst, or maybe exiting COVID, who knows, right? What are you doing vocationally, artistically, and when they sort of, you know, overlap to keep those juices flowing?
Yeah, so I do, you know, every morning I do these like little videos, and I put them out, and you can think they might be dumb, they might be funny. You might.
It is what I think.
What's that?
It is what I think.
But whatever, it doesn't. It's not for you or for anyone. It's for me.
Yeah, right,
it's for me.
Right,
I just allow everyone else to see it. You know
right. That's pretty. So that's a good thing you do. You kind of approach. I shouldn't do that. I just look.
But no, I'm serious. So that kind of stuff, like that little stuff, is just in my head. That's me. Like, I'll wake up with an idea. Like the other day was the alphabet. So
I saw that. I loved it.
That's the thing. It's like, it's nothing, but I love doing it. Like, it
wasn't nothing. I loved it. What you, and again, I'm such like an amateur student of acting, right? So I don't know shit. I don't. But I watched it, and for folks who didn't see it, first of all, Google it. It's really cool. You went through the alphabet, and I'll use the word again, you emoted a certain feeling for various letters of the alphabet, but the words that exited your mouth were just the fucking letters, right?
It's just the fucking letters, yeah.
And it was really cool because you were convincing that F and G were really upsetting, but then you were laughing over G and H, and it was very cool.
And it's just, you wing it. I mean, it's just, but that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. So, and then also, my wife, Mo Collins, had a character named Lorraine on Mad TV, and we came up with this to do a YouTube channel. It's called Lorraine, and we've done we haven't done one in a few weeks, but it's out there just to kind of have fun and do that. That's a feeling of emoting,
Yeah.
So just stuff like that. Oh, I'm also doing I'm doing voice work. I'm dubbing movies with a friend of mine, a director named William Butler. The last one we did was called Barbie and Kendra Save the Tiger King. And it's through Full Moon Features. It's out there now. They got a ton of views. I voice. See what they do. He takes a movie from like Italy or Germany or whatever.
So something in this country that's a B or a C.
It's like Mystery Science Theater. You remember that?
Right. Yep.
Okay. So they take the film. They take all the vocals away. So all you see is actors kind of moving their mouths. He writes a script, and we dub it in our language, in our words, in our thing. And that's what we do.
Is that technologically challenging because you want to do your best to match the lips moving on the actors?
I feel bad for the writers who have to do the timestamp on each line. Because when I get the script, because last one I played a character named Brick Fister. And he was the lead guy, like jungle guy, who was out there trying to save this woman.
Oh, so he wasn't a porn star.
He wasn't, although that'd be fun to do too.
Fister,
exactly. But so someone has to timestamp these lines, and I feel horrible for them because there's hundreds of lines in a script, and they have to literally go and look at the movie and see where the person starts talking, timestamp it, where they stop talking, timestamp it, and then move on to the next line.
Wait, is that the writer? Is that the writer or the editor who has to deal with that?
Well, by the time the script gets to me, before it's edited, I have to have the timestamps on every line.
Okay. Explain that, because I think I understand, but I'm not sure.
So when you're watching a movie, on the bottom, right? On the bottom, there's a scrolling time scroll. There's
just like on YouTube.
Just like on YouTube. So there's a time scroll, but it's it's set in a black bar, and it's telling you. So when I see a line in the script, I go, okay, this line is at 11 minutes, 19 seconds. So I have to go to look, see it, watch the guy's mouth move, and I have a little recording thing set up, and then I press play. I try to emote kind of what his face looks like with my voice, and then and we just do it that way.
Do you have to actually, do you have to try to make your mouth match what he's doing with the open and close?
Well, the funnier part I think it's funnier when what I'm saying doesn't really match what his mouth is doing.
Right.
What kind of does? I think that's funnier.
Well, that's the old. There's the I can't remember if it's SNL or Second City. There are skits that would make fun of the badly dubbed Japanese monster movies. Where I think Jim Carrey used to do it. I can go like that, but he would figure out how to make the words not match what his own mouth was doing.
Yeah, that was In Living Color. That was the name.
Is that what it was? And was it Jim Carrey?
Jim Carrey, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was brilliant, man.
Yeah, I won't do it, but I do a fire marshal Bill.
Let me show you something.
Yeah. Shit, I could talk to you forever, dude. So what are you doing next? What's next on the horizon?
So I do plays, a lot of theater. I love theater. It's where I started. It's probably where I'll end in this business. But so I've done 2 so far with a writer named Howard Skora. He's a brilliant screenplay, theater playwright. And I've done his last 2. I've done his only 2, and he's just written another one called what the hell's the name of it? Gaslight House on the Long Island Sound. All his plays take place in New York.
Is it about gaslighting or is it not?
It's about gaslighting. Yeah, it's about I'm playing the lead. Let's see, we were supposed to start rehearsal in July and go up in September.
Okay.
Now, we don't know if we're ever going to do it this year. I mean, it might be pushed to next year, but it is a brilliant script, man.
That's
brilliant.
So I got some trivia to bring this full circle. So if
All
you
right.
look behind me, this wall, and this is, I live in a 1740 farmhouse.
Oh, nice.
In Bucks County. And if you look back here, this shows you how thick my brick walls are. Or better yet, you can look over there.
Wow.
So my house is the Lloyd Boulder-Stun, not Boulder-Stun, but Boulder-Stun farmhouse. And a guy named Boulderston from that family wrote not the original book, but wrote the first screenplay for Gaslight.
No way.
Wow. But I Googled it when I first got the place. Yeah. So I actually have a sort of a very tenuous connection. And not the one who lived here in 1740, but some member of this extended family. Yeah. His claim to fame is he wrote the maybe the Broadway version. I don't know much about it. Yeah. But Gaslight started semi-related to this building that I'm sitting in.
That's great. That's cool, man. That's
cool. Yeah. So, all right. So last time we did the show, we had Mo walk over. Does she feel like it, or you want to scream for her?
I don't know where she. I don't know. Could you give me a second to see what?
Yeah. I'll entertain the crowd. I'll do some dance routines. All right, I'm not going to do any dance routines. I don't know how to address the camera. Now I'll address the camera. Here we go. And if I knew how to edit, I would do it, but I don't know how to edit on Zoom. So we can see him right there. He's sort of walking around. And we're going to see if we can get Mo here. Something is going on. Hey, while we're on a break, everyone, I'm going to do a plug for a company that has nothing to do with our show so far. So I recently signed up for First Leaf for wine delivery. It's kind of like the old Columbia House with the records. Well, I'm doing a promo. You want to help me?
She is in her studio. She's got an art studio outside, and she's covered in paint. And she says, "Not today." I said,
"All right, we'll do it another time." Yeah. Because we had so much fun last time. You guys were very lovey-dovey last time. I guess you know her relatively well.
A little bit.
Yeah. So you've got this going on. You're going to go back to plays, and you're keeping your creative juices very much flowing.
Well, I have to, because if I don't, I will fucking kill somebody.
What is going on? So I think this will be a great way to sort of wrap things up. Mm-hmm. I've never thought about this before. For the artistic heart and brain, mm-hmm. How do you feel if you're not expressing or exercising that muscle?
Depressed.
Really?
Depressed.
Wait, I'm okay. That literally took you a nanosecond to come up with that answer.
I've been there 1,000 times. Depressed.
Really?
Not worth. I'm not. I'm stifling what I am.
Wow.
And when I have to do that, like my biggest thing in life is, I'm not for everyone. Some people may go, "Oh my God, this fucking guy." Some people are like, "Oh my God, he's great." But
they can be, "Oh my God, this fucking guy."
Yeah, right. Exactly. But that's none of my business.
Right.
So if I can't be me, then I'm no good.
That's really cool. So when do you think you first sort of realized that there was that peak? And I'm metaphorically calling it a muscle that you as a human being would atrophy if that muscle was not exercised. When do you think you first realized that?
I'm going to say probably as a child. I mean, because it was something that I had to do. I had to be, I remember in 3rd grade, oh my God, there was a play called Campbell's Soup or something. It was and I wanted to play, and I got the part of Pierre, which was all he did the whole time was sing, "I don't care." And then the mom would be, "Some lovely cream of wheat." And my line would be, "I don't care." Because it was like this kid who just didn't care about it. Got the part. And like, after that, man, it was like, I just knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know it was acting.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do something.
You know what's so cool about that? So that experience from 3rd grade is it imprinted in your brain. It's hardwired into your neurons, floating through your body. And you might have a better memory of that than your 17th acting gig. Not your first, but your 17th.
Or 2 days ago. Because
well, you're old now. You know?
Yes. Hey, I'm 47, man.
You're young. You're a freaking kid. I'm 56. That's nice. Oh my God, that's at least what I am. So you're a kid. You have at least 2 or 3 years in front of you. So this was fun. I'm so appreciative that you came back. I felt so horribly the first time.
No, man, don't worry about it. I wanted to do it again. You're not a dick, and it was fun.
You know what Zoom just did to me? I think you said you're a nice guy, and Zoom's like, I'm not going to let him say that. We didn't hear it. Say it again.
You're a nice guy.
Oh, good for my frail ego. That's perfect. Yeah. All right, so here's what we're going to do this time. This is the critical piece. I'm going to hit end.
Okay.
And presumably my computer is about to say converting. And when it says that, yeah. I'm going to Zoom you back. We'll have it because I don't have your cell phone yet, but I'll get it someday so I can stalk you. But I'll call you and say we're good. So here we go. All right. Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.
All right, here we go. Goodbye. It was wonderful having you. All right, take care. Good night.